Today, we're exploring The Gardener, a powerful short story written by Lankesh, a master storyteller who uses simple characters to explore deep truths about human nature. This is not just a story about a gardener, it's a story about rivalry, jealousy, pride, and the strange ways people seek meaning through success, art, and revenge. Let's begin this journey. The story begins with the narrator recalling an old man he once met in a coconut grove near Chennarayanapatna. This old man stood tall, with a long nose, strong muscular arms, and gray hair that framed a face full of wisdom. His eyes held a deep calmness, but also a trace of pain, the kind that only comes from years of experience. He was a man of strange memory, native intelligence, and quiet philosophy. Once, he had been a laborer, an overseer, and a thinker, all at once. He had come to this plantation after walking hundreds of miles on foot, tired but determined. The owner of the plantation needed someone exactly like him, skilled, honest, and experienced. So, with just a few words exchanged, the old man was hired. From that day on, the garden began to change. Under his care, the petty thefts stopped, the workers became disciplined, and soon the income from the plantation rose dramatically. The owner's lifestyle transformed completely. From being a hard-working farmer, he slowly turned into a man of leisure. The plantation expanded beyond imagination. What was once 10 acres grew into a flourishing estate. But with success came complacency and corruption. The owner became lazy and indulgent, ignoring hard work and drowning in comfort. His wealth brought new friends from the next town, and his popularity grew. He began to live a life filled with pleasure, vanity, and adultery. The wife of the garden owner watched this downfall helplessly. She could not decide whether the arrival of the old man had been a blessing or a curse to their home. One evening, as the sun dipped low, the old man met the owner's wife near the well. He smiled gently, climbed a tree, and brought her a few tender coconuts as an offering. He sat down on the edge of the well, and she, though hesitant, sat beside him. Then, with a distant look in his eyes, he began to tell her a story. He said softly, "Far away, in another place, there once lived a man named Tamana. He had everything a man could ask for, 10 acres of fertile land, a comfortable house, and many loyal people around him. But there was also another man, Vasavaya, who was his rival. At first, their competition was healthy. Each wanted to outdo the other in farming, land ownership, and social reputation. When Tamana bought 4 acres of land, Vasavaya immediately did the same. If Tamana had 10 friends, Vasavaya made sure he had 50 admirers. Their rivalry grew into an obsession. They both bought up every possible piece of land in the village until there was no plot left to buy. By then, Tamana owned 1,000 acres, while Vasavaya owned 800. This difference burned Vasavaya with jealousy. In anger, he sent word to Tamana demanding that he sell 200 acres to him so their holdings would be equal. Tamana refused. Instead, he offered to buy Vasavaya's land instead. Vasavaya was furious. Gathering his men, he seized 200 acres of Tamana's land by force and fenced it off. Tamana's supporters urged him to take action, to go to the police, to court, or even use violence to reclaim his land. But Tamana refused all of these. He said he wanted to destroy Vasavaya, but not through law or bloodshed. He wanted to defeat him through art. Tamana poured all his anger, pain, and intelligence into composing songs and ballads about human greed, cruelty, and ego. His songs became powerful reflections of human nature, and through them, he found a new kind of strength. Soon, Tamana's songs spread far and wide. People across villages began to sing them. Scholars collected them. Critics analyzed them. His reputation as a great poet grew, while Basavaya's pride began to crumble. Humiliated, Basavaya tried to compete in other ways. He built a grand mansion, filled it with gold, jewels, and expensive furniture. He surrounded himself with poets and musicians, hoping to match Tamana's glory. But no matter what he did, Basavaya couldn't find peace. His achievements felt hollow without someone to compete with. In a final, ironic twist, Tamana decided to end their rivalry once and for all. He announced his own death. When Basavaya heard the news, his entire world collapsed. With Tamana gone, he had no reason to live, no purpose left. A few days later, Basavaya too passed away. Tamana later reflected that if he had continued the rivalry in life, Basavaya would have always found a way to compete. By ending his existence, he ended the competition forever. The old man paused after finishing his story. The garden owner's wife was silent. The story had unsettled her deeply. Then the old man looked at her and said quietly, "My name is Tamana." He confessed that after Basavaya's death, he lost his purpose. He forgot all his songs and became a simple, forgotten man. He sighed and said, "Man desires wealth, art, education, and respect. But deep inside, he's haunted by jealousy, revenge, and ego. Even when he achieves everything, he still seeks someone to defeat." Before leaving, he smiled and told the owner's wife, "Forget what I've told you. Think of it all as just a dream." As the sun disappeared behind the trees, the laborers began to walk home. The old man rose, stretched his tired limbs, and said he wanted to visit a young boy named Loya, a gifted painter who was now bedridden with fever. Then he slowly walked away, leaving behind a story, and a lesson, that would stay in the listener's heart forever. And that was The Gardener, by P. Lankesh, a story that reminds us how rivalry and ego can consume the human soul, and how even success loses its meaning when it's driven by hate instead of purpose. If you enjoyed this animated literature summary, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Increased IQ, where we turn complex stories into powerful animated lessons. Tap the bell icon to stay updated with our next episode, and keep learning the smart, visual way with Increased IQ, where education meets imagination.